Greetings, Pokepals! I'm Eurogamer's Ian Higton, and I've never played Pokémon Scarlet and Violet before. Seriously, I honestly don't even know what the starter Pokémon in this one are called, but I hope there's one called David. That's a really strong Pokémon name if ever I've heard one. But anyway, you may be thinking, why on earth is this guy doing a tips video for a game he's never played? Well, it seems like everybody is talking about Scarlet and Violet at the moment, and because I'm a big bag of jealousy, I really want to get in on a piece of that action too. But as the only Pokemon game I've ever played is Pokemon Go, I feel like I may be a bit out of my depth with this one. So I decided to speak to our amazing Eurogamer guides team, who, since the game has launched, have been furnishing our website with the very best Pokemon tips and guides that you will find on the whole entire internet. Thanks to those absolute legends, I now have in my possession 13 of the best Pokémon Scarlet and Violet tips that you need to know if you're a beginner to the game, or, like me, the series. That means if you want to be a Poke-Pro as fast as possible, these tips here will help you be the very best, like no one ever was, in no time at all. None of these tips have any story or Pokemon spoilers in them either, so don't worry about that. But they are full of knowledge nuggets that will be invaluable to know once you've finished the game's introductory chapter the first day of school. And if you found these tips useful and would like to know even more about Scarlet and Violet, our guides team have a walkthrough hub for the entire game available on our website, which I've linked to in the video description below. Alrighty, on to the tips. In Scarlet and Violet, the best way to succeed is to gather as many items as possible. What's the saying? Gotta collect them all? Yeah, it's something like that anyway. There are two types of items you can gather in Scarlet and Violet, the ones represented by a Pokeball, as is traditional in these games, and then there are others which are represented by small sparkles that you'll see on the ground. It's tempting to ignore these little sparkles, but they are definitely worth collecting. You never know, it might be something awesome and rare, like an evolution stone. Every computer-controlled trainer or wild Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet has a level which determines how strong they are. So what you don't want to do at the start of the game is wander into an area where everything you meet is too overpowered to defeat. Huh, that rhymed. To make sure you don't get out of your depth in the early game, make sure you pay attention to the province and area number that you're in. Wild Pokemon and trainer levels are dictated by both the province and area number, with the idea being that the further you go from Cabo Poco, the stronger the Pokemon will become. This means that the wild Pokemon in the northern provinces of Paldea will typically have higher levels than those in the south. Wandering around Paldea catching Pokemon is obviously something you're going to be doing a lot of in Scarlet and Violet, but what if you're in a hurry to get somewhere and don't want to waste your time trekking across country? Well, that's where the watchtowers come in. Not only do the watchtowers provide you with a great view of the surrounding area once you've climbed them, but you can also fast travel to them. This makes it easier to reach certain parts of Paldea that don't contain a Pokemon Center, which are also places that allow you to fast travel to. Make sure you don't overlook Scarlet and Violet's Let's Go feature, which allows your leading Pokemon to escape its Pokeball and explore the world alongside you. While doing so, they can fight Pokemon and gather items without you needing to lift a finger. Doing this can help you level up your Pokemon way quicker than you would without it, and it's a brilliant way to gather crafting materials for technical machines. And just in case you're like me and that was the first time you've ever heard the words technical machine and you're like, WTF is a technical machine, Ian? Well, here's a little explainer. Technical machines, or TMs as they're more commonly called in the game, are items in Scarlet and Violet that let you teach your Pokemon new moves. These are one-use items, and they can either be found in the wild or they can be crafted at a Pokemon Center using some of the aforementioned crafting materials, and that can be done in something called a technical machine. You can really see a lot of thought went into coming up with that name, can't you? Your Pokédex in Scarlet and Violet doesn't just collect information on the Pokémon you've personally seen or caught. It also contains useful information about ones that you haven't even encountered yet. These notes include the habitats of unseen Pokémon, which is incredibly useful in tracking down a creature that you may have missed in the vast wilds of Paldea. Any self-respecting Pokémon fan has to have at least one Poképlush in their collection, and the main characters in Scarlet and Violet are no exception, as they're always looking to get their hands on something called a Pokédoll. Due to the open-world nature of Scarlet and Violet, there's a chance you'll sometimes find yourself battling a wild Pokémon far above the current levels of your party. It can be rather difficult to escape these fights if you stumble into one, so it's always a good idea to carry a number of Pokémon Dolls in your bag, as these items instantly attract the attention of the aggressor Pokémon, and these will allow you to quickly escape the battle. In Scarlet and Violet, it's possible to temporarily transform your Pokémon into something called a Tera type, which gives them a gem-like appearance and makes them super tough. This phenomenon is called terastallizing, and you can do it with something called a Tera Orb, which you get after an early encounter in the game. It's very important to remember that you can only terastallize your Pokémon once, before you'll need to visit a Pokémon Center and have your Tera Orb recharged. Due to this, it's always good practice to visit a Pokémon Center after using the Tera Orb to terastallize a Pokémon, as you'll never know when you'll need it again. While we're on the subject of Tera types, it's important to mention that these can be changed. This can be done by collecting something called Tera Shards and then visiting the Treasure Eatery in Medali. There's a different type of shard for each type, and you'll need 50 shards to complete the change, so it's quite the task, but one that's definitely worth doing for the right Pokémon. As you're wandering around Paldea, make sure to look out for characters with golden chat boxes above their heads. These characters are always connected to a useful feature in the game, be it something like checking the friendship levels of your Pokémon or offering a trade. Either way, this means it's always worth taking the time to chat to someone with a golden box above their head, because you never know what treats they may have in store for you. All of the food in Scarlet and Violet, from ice cream to the sandwiches you make, will provide you with a set of boosts. These can range from a specific Pokémon type becoming more powerful in the cooperative Tera Raid battles, to things like increasing your chances of finding eggs during picnics. To find out the buffs that each food type gives you, just head to a nearby restaurant, browse its menu, and in the description of each item, you'll then see what meal powers they have and what level effects those powers are. As a great example of this, if you're struggling to find a Pokémon that you really want, the best course of action is to head to the restaurants in Medali for a hearty meal. In these restaurants, you can buy food types that come with a variety of buffs, but some of these will increase your chances of finding a certain Pokémon by a massive amount. So if you're trying to fill your decks but are struggling to find the last couple of Pokémon that you need, head to the nearest eatery in Medali and look for foods that give you the Encounter type buff. So, for instance, if you're looking for a Dragon-type Pokémon, you'll want to consume the food with the Encounter-type Dragon buff. Throw that down your pie hole and head to the nearest known spawn point, and those most wanted critters should pop up for you in no time. It's easy to forget you're still a student when you're out in the wilds of Paldea, and though the academy may be far from your mind, it is worth a visit every now and then. Taking classes at the academy will actually allow you to develop friendships with your teachers, and in doing so, unlock some very useful rewards. So even though school does suck, just like in real life, bunking off all of the time will mean you're missing out on lots of useful knowledge, and that will keep you on the back foot compared to all of your friends. And that's your lot, Poképals! Hopefully these tips have given you some guidance as you make your first steps towards being a master Poké Trainer. If they have, and you'd like some more advanced tips, do remember to head on over to our website, where our guides team have a huge Pokémon walkthrough hub on offer. The link for that is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, subscribe to this channel for almost daily videos about video games, and if you'd like to continue your Poké journey with us here at Eurogamer, why not check out some of our other Pokémon videos that are on screen and clickable right now. Thanks for watching, goodbye.